They say life is like an unpredictable journey sometimes. No matter how carefully you plan, destiny has its own route in mind. This is the story of a man who thought he had everything under control, only to realize that the greatest moments in life often come from the most unexpected detours. Dr. Ethan Grant was a man of success. Wealthy, respected, and always on schedule, he prided himself on efficiency. That evening, he was set to deliver a keynote speech at a prestigious medical conference zone that hundreds of people eagerly awaited. Time was of the essence. As he stepped out of his luxury car at the airport, he checked his watch. Perfect timing. His assistant had ensured every detail of his trip was flawlessly arranged. But life, as it often does, had other plans. Just as the plane took off, the skies darkened. Heavy rain began to pour, and turbulence rocked the aircraft. Then came the captain's announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, due to severe weather conditions, we are unable to proceed to our original destination. We will be landing at the nearest available airport. Dr. Grant's jaw tightened. This was not in the plan. He had prepared months for this conference. People were expecting him. He needed to be there. Frustration bubbled inside him, but there was nothing he could do. When the plane finally landed, he stormed out, demanding answers from the airline staff. "Where am I? How soon can I get to the city?" A fellow passenger, noticing his distress, approached with a kind smile. "Dr. Grant, I recognize you. The conference isn't too far, about 3 hours by car. You can still make it if you leave now." Reluctantly, he agreed and quickly arranged for a taxi. The rain continued to fall, making the roads slick and visibility poor. "Drive as fast as you safely can," he instructed the driver. But an hour into the journey, the driver hesitated. "Sir, I think we're lost." Dr. Grant clenched his fists. First the flight, now this? He exhaled sharply, trying to keep his frustration in check. "Fine, just take me somewhere I can make a call." A short while later, they spotted a small house with a faint glow from a lantern inside. It was the only visible shelter for miles. With no better option, they knocked on the door. An elderly woman opened it, her face lined with years of wisdom and kindness. Come in," she said warmly. "The storm is fierce. You must be soaked." Dr. Grant hesitated. He had no time for small talk. But with no signal on his phone and no other way forward, he stepped inside. The house was simple but filled with warmth. A small boy lay on a thin mattress, his face pale and his breathing shallow. The woman knelt beside him, whispering prayers. She turned to them and sighed. "He's my grandson. He's been sick for weeks. The local doctors don't know how to help him." Dr. Grant felt a pang of sympathy but remained quiet. He was a renowned doctor, but this was not his concern. He had a schedule to keep. The old woman continued, her voice filled with unwavering faith. "They say there's a great doctor in the city, Dr. Ethan Grant. People say he's the only one who can save my boy. But how could I ever reach such a man? So, I pray. Every night, I ask God to send him to us." Dr. Grant felt his breath catch in his throat. His mind raced. The canceled flight, the lost taxi, the storm. Was it all just coincidence? Or was he exactly where he was meant to be? Kneeling beside the child, he checked his pulse, examined his breathing, and listened to his heart. "He needs immediate treatment," he said. "I can help him." Tears welled in the old woman's eyes. She clasped her hands together, whispering, "God is good. He sent you here." At that moment, Dr. Grant realized something profound. His most important appointment that night was not at a grand conference but in a tiny home, with a sick child who desperately needed him. The world had planned for him to be on a stage. But fate had a different stage in mind where a single act of kindness could change a life. Sometimes, when things don't go our way, we feel frustrated, even defeated. We question why obstacles block our carefully laid plans. But what if those obstacles are actually guiding us to where we are truly needed? Life's detours are not accidents. They are often divine interventions, leading us toward moments of purpose, connection, and meaning. Dr. Grant thought he had lost his way that night. In reality, he had been guided to exactly where he was meant to be. So the next time life redirects your path, don't be too quick to resist. You might just find yourself at the doorstep of a miracle.